Hey, what's up? This is Scott with the Level Up Tuts, and today I'm going to show you how to set up tax rules for Drupal Commerce. And we're just going to create a tax rule for sales tax for one state, and then you could repeat that process to set up other states if you need to set up more. So this is how you do it. It's actually a little bit, it's not as easy as some systems, but that's because this is built in Drupal. And it's built on a system called Rules, which is a module that's highly used. However, it's very complex and it can be confusing. So if we go to Store Settings and then go to Taxes here, you'll notice we have no tax rates. And so it basically says up top here, taxes in Drupal Commerce have two main concepts: tax rates, percentages, and tax types, how and when they're applied. If we come over here to tax types, you'll see there's sales tax and VAT or VAT. I don't know how people pronounce that, to be honest. But basically, sales tax is what you would expect. This is the basic type of sales tax that you encounter every single day. So we're going to create something that's sales tax. And we don't have to modify this. If you're just doing sales tax, then that's it, right? We don't have to do any tax types. It's just there. So let's add a tax rate. So I click this add a tax rate, and I'm going to say this is Michigan tax. And the display title is just going to be sales tax, because we don't want it to say Michigan tax for our customers. We want to say sales tax, okay? And we don't really need to have a description. I think Michigan tax, sales tax describes this as well as I can. And now we need a percentage. Keep in mind here, you actually need to put it in decimal form, so 0.66% sales tax is Michigan, and our type is right here. Of course, we're going to be selecting sales tax. So let's click Save Tax Rate. Awesome. So we now have the Michigan sales tax set up, but how do we tell it to apply when somebody's from Michigan, right? Because we only want this sales tax to be applied when somebody's shipping address is in Michigan. Now let's click Configure Component here, and this is going to take us into the rules portion. So if you've used rules in Drupal, this is going to look really familiar. If you haven't used rules, this might look a little foreign. We have two things here. We have the conditions and the actions. The conditions, of course, is what has to take place for the actions to happen. And you notice the actions is already set up for us. It already says apply tax rate to line item. So it's going to apply the sales tax as long as these conditions are met. And right now we have no conditions. So let's click Add Condition. Here we can select the condition here, and we want to go down here where we can say we want an order address component comparison. What this means is we want to compare a component of the address in the current order. So in this data selector, see, this might be a little confusing here, but if you open up this data selectors, it gets less confusing because this gives you some descriptions to exactly what these selectors are. And we want, so we have the role of the user. No, we clearly don't want the role. The user's shopping cart order. So this is the shopping cart order that belongs to the current user. So this is what we're looking for. This is the current order. So let's close this. I just copied this directly, the selector directly. You could type it in up here. I'm just going to go ahead and paste it in. Perfect. So now that that's pasted in here, you'll notice down here we have address, and this is the address, what value from the address we want to actually compare. So we want to say we want to look at the shipping address, of course, not the billing. I'm pretty sure that's the correct way for shipping sales tax to work. Now the address component. So what do we want to have here determine who gets the sales tax? Well, we want the state to determine the sales tax. So only people in Michigan are getting the sales tax. So administrative area, state, province is equal. Notice our options are equal, begins with, contains, is equal to, and then the value, which I happen to know the value is MI. Now this says, bear in mind that the address component you're using, the select list value might be different from its display. So you'll notice that when we're actually checking out, it says Michigan, but the value of the select list is going to be MI. So MI works. You'll notice there's all sorts of replacement patterns we can put in here too, but we just want Michigan. So that's great. And let's save this. This negate checkbox is just saying if we click this negate, it would apply this to every state that was in Michigan. But let's click save because we want this to be applied to Michigan. Let's click save changes overall. You probably don't have to do that, but I'm a little obsessive with clicking save sometimes. And now let's click out of here. And I already added 2 items to my cart, so we don't have to add anything to our cart. So let's just click this checkout, and let's check out. So now we have some stuff in here. I have a backpack. I have this Level Up Tuts product that we created. It's a t-shirt, sort of. And now let's click checkout. You'll notice that it just has a subtotal and express shipping. When we click checkout, it's going to give us more options. So now we're in this checkout mode. We have this first screen in checkout. This looks like a lot of systems that you've used before, but this one is really nice. In fact, the way they break this all up. Okay, now let's come down here, and we can see we can enter my address. I'm going to enter my name as Scott Tolinsky, and United States, and I'm going to put in a fake address because I don't want everybody to have my real address. So we can go to city. The city could just be Ann Arbor, and then state is Michigan, and the zip code 481. No, 48114 is Ann Arbor, I think. Okay, and our shipping information is going to be the same as our billing information. If we want it to be separate, we could always uncheck this, but I want it to be the same. And we're going to click Express Shipping, continue. And now we get to review our order, and if you notice, we have the sales tax, which is $3.42. Now, I've already done the calculator math, and 56.99 times 6% is 3419, which of course rounds to 342, so it's correctly having this as 6% sales tax. We could even add that 6% in this title here, back in our shipping settings, or our tax settings, and then that way they'd see that it is 6%, but we really don't have to. Now, to prove that this actually works, let's click back here to checkout, and let's change my address to, all I'm going to do is keep everything the same, but change the state to Idaho. And you're going to come, let's click this next step, and now we don't have the sales tax anymore. So this was really easy. It took us no time, and now we have sales tax set up. It's correctly calculating, and we didn't have to do any math. So perfect, cool. And yeah, that really couldn't have been any easier. So Drupal Commerce has come a long way for commerce on Drupal in general. This is a really polished system, something to like what we would see in other systems like Magento. I mean, even the interface on this seems a little bit more modern and normal than something like that. So Drupal Commerce is still growing, it's still new, but it works really well, and there's a lot of great stuff in it. So as always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave a comment on the video or hit us up at Twitter or Level Up Tuts. Let us know what you're thinking. We always love to hear from you. This is Scott Tolinsky with Level Up Tuts, and thanks for watching. Bye.